Then it might feel good to start shifting the intention to the inhales. Expanding the front ribs with every in-breath. So exaggerated inhales, taking your time to fill up front ribs, front lungs. Followed by a satisfying exhale. For softening and settling. Slowing the breath even more. Let low back drop. And your legs get so heavy. And feeling the ribs melting against the blankets. Shoulders and arms falling back. Find more ease in your neck, your jaw, your eyes. Whole body getting twice as heavy, twice as soft. Just really embracing this moment of respite. Take one more breath here. And start to wiggle fingers and toes. If you're in reclined cobbler's position here, you can bring your knees back up and maybe extend the legs long. And rock your legs out all the way from the hips, clearing the joints. And then for upper body, let's do some snow angel arms before we move from here. So starting with our hands near the hips, we'll inhale arms wide and up, reaching to the wall behind your head, and exhale arms wide and down. Inhale wide and up, exhale wide and down. So feel the space that you're creating with when you're reaching overhead, the space for the lungs. And keep just allowing the hands to slide along the floor if possible, if it's comfortable. If it's not comfortable, you can raise your hands up higher off the ground to kind of jump over points of pain or discomfort. And The next time your arms go overhead, well, just stay there for a moment. You can interlace your fingers if you want, or grab one of your hands and legs long and together, point your toes, just go longer through the body and breathe. Relax your face. And then let's release the arms down again. And take a big breath. And we'll bend our knees. We'll roll to one side. We'll move your blankets out of the way and lay on your back again. So we'll keep our knees bent and we'll take our feet wide to the edges of our mat. And arms are wide too, palms face up, and we'll do windshield wipers. So both knees to the right, both knees to the left. Just keep going side to side. Getting a little bit of twisting action in the lumbar spine. A little massage on the glutes and back walls and pelvis. And then if you take your feet even wider, we get deeper into the hip flexors, in the front of the thighs, hips, and the belly. Flexing your feet is helpful. Create a little more action in the legs. And a little more comfort for the joints. Okay, next time you drop your legs to the left, stay there. And you can always support that right knee with something, like your other foot or a block or two. If you want a deeper stretch, walk your right foot wider to the right and flex both feet. Gently push that right knee down toward the floor and forward. And if you'd like to, reach your arms overhead and grab your right wrist with your other hand and gently pull, making a straighter line from right knee to right hand. And let the right side of your ribs settle to the ground better, as well as your low back. Gently tuck your tailbone and firm your belly to lengthen your lumbar spine. Deep breaths into that right lung. Do one more breath. And soften. And we'll bring our knees up and over to the right. If you need support under that left knee, please give it to yourself. Want a deeper stretch, walk the left foot wider to the left. Flex both feet and gently push that left knee down toward the floor and forward, creating more length in the hip flexor. If you want to involve upper body, you can reach your arms overhead and grab your left wrist and actively pull. And try to flatten that left side to the ground a little better through the back ribs, shoulder, low back a little bit too by firming belly and lengthening low back. And slow breaths into left lung. Relaxing your jaw. Take another big breath. And soften and bring your knees up and walk the feet inward. And hug the knees into the chest. You can rock side to side here to massage your back on the floor if you like. And bring your hands to your kneecaps. So one hand on each knee and bring your legs together and circle your knees. So what we're really doing is massaging the tailbone on the floor, the sacrum, the back wall, pelvis. Just getting some good blood flow there. And don't forget to breathe steady and long. And circle the other way now. Let the arms extend all the way. And then they bend kindly as you pull the knees closer to the chest. Just outlining the back wall of the pelvis, or that triangular shaped bone that makes the back wall of the pelvis. Okay, let's come back to center, drop it in the feet. Take a good breath. Okay, let's roll to one side. Use your blankets in the put away fold. Just using them for head support. You can always use a block under your head instead, or a blanket on top of a block if that feels better to you. We just want our neck to be neutral, and let's lay on your right side and face me. So you can always put your arm under your head instead of the blankets as well if you rather do that. That can put some strain on the shoulder sometimes. So bend your knees in front of the body. And so low back is long, spine is neutral. And let's take your top arm up to the sky and start to circle up and back, up and back, up and back. So it's like a backstroke circle. Yeah. So small movements at first, just kind of waking up that shoulder girdle. And breathe steady and long. And if and when it would feel good, you can start to spiral bigger and bigger and bigger with your circles, to where you're using the fullest range of motion that's comfortable for you. Remember, the movement is up towards your ear and back. So we're just diving right into the shoulder joint there, keeping the shoulder stacked, hips stacked. I'm not quite turning the ribs yet. And let's slow it down and then involve the ribs. So when you reach forward, roll forward. When you reach back, roll back. So turn the ribs, turn the head. So we're making the biggest circle we can create with our whole torso there. So allow that twisting action in the spine and the ribs. One more circle. And when your arm reaches back behind you, we're going to lay in that twist. So you might want to adjust your head support if needed. I always need to remove a blanket. And arms wide, palms face up. And just let your legs be heavy off to the right there. And if you need support between the knees, under the bottom knee, or both, you can utilize your blocks or your blankets or other props. Or if you need support under that left arm or shoulder, you would give that to yourself as well. So we want to be able to rest and soften and breathe. Let go through inner thighs, the crease of the hips, belly, the ribs, the shoulders, the mouth. You can either look up toward the ceiling, or you can gently turn away from your legs. You'd be turning to the left. But only if it feels good. Let's exaggerate the inhales again. So slowly though. Take a full exaggerated in-breath, followed by a satisfying exhale. Body getting twice as heavy, twice as soft. Let's slowly start to unturn with your inhale. And then support your head well again. It's neutral spine. Just take some satisfying breaths there. And let's have top hand just stabilizes in front somewhere that's comfortable. And top leg, keep the knee bent, lift it up as far as you can, and then circle it around behind you and then back in front again. So do a big backward circle there. Keep the knee bent. So lips wide and up toward the ceiling and then back as far as you can reach the knee bent. Activating glutes there on the left side. And exploring our range of motion there as well. Let's do one more circle. Then hug that knee into the chest. Just let your low back stretch a little bit. Take a good breath in. Great breath out. And then release that and grab your foot and stand on the floor in front of your bottom knee into a figure 4 stretch there. And so your knee gently pushes against your foot to stabilize it. And your top hand pushes wide the knee, top knee. So we're getting this external rotation of the hip joint. So you can always let your foot stand on your other leg or a block, but you do need to stabilize that foot though, if we don't have the other leg pushing against it. And then top hand still pushes the knee wide there. And you can always deepen your pose by moving your legs closer to your chest and pushing your knee wide with hand or forearm. Take a really good breath. And one more. And slowly release the legs. Good breath in. Great breath out. And we'll grab our strap. And strap your top foot. Top hand grabs right next to the foot as best you can. The arms on the inside of the knee. And lay better on your side. So stack your shoulders, stack your hips. How to keep that alignment from your belly. And slowly straighten your leg up to the sky. So try not to roll back. Just stay laying on your side. So we're having to use core muscles to stabilize there. And then the glute, the left glute is working well to lift that leg, and we're allowing inner thigh to open as well as back of the leg to open. So let your top arm be as straight as it can be, reaching up as high on the strap as you can comfortably, and keeping the legs straight as best you can too. So deep breaths. So we can think of moving the top hip forward as the top leg moves back. That's the opposing force there. And check in with your neck that you're neutral in your neck. Deep breath. You can always move your foot closer to your head. You can always grab your foot if that becomes excessive. Lengthen low back, so you might tuck your tailbone a little bit, firm your belly a little bit. Take a good breath. And then let's slowly release. Stacking legs. Good breath in. Great breath out. Okay, let's push ourselves up. Take your blankets over to the other end of your mat and lay on your left side. Bend your knees in front of the body. And so we'll start with top arm lifting up. And we'll do backward circles, up and back, up and back, up and back. So you can start with small circles if you like. And then start to go wider when it feels right too. And take the widest, biggest circle that you can comfortably. Go smaller if you need to. Diving right into that shoulder joint. Laying sideways here creates different work for the shoulder girdle. Let's slow it down and then allow that rocking movement with the ribs and spine, so that turning. So when you reach forward, roll forward, and when you reach back, turn the ribs and head up toward the ceiling more. Making biggest circle that you can with your torso, whole torso and arm. Okay, one more circle, and then we'll settle into that twist, reaching the arm back behind you again, wide. Arms wide, you might adjust the head support. You can always give yourself support between the knees, under the bottom knee, or both, using blocks or blankets or other props. You can also support that right arm and right shoulder with something if needed, so that the turn isn't as deep, so that you can relax more here. So let's exaggerate the inhales, filling up ribs and lungs. Take your time though, slowly breathing. Followed by complete exhale, satisfying exhale. Allowing this pose to twist. It compresses the lungs, so we want to take advantage of that to increase lung capacity by deepening the breath here, or exaggerating the breath. And keeping the breath slow keeps the body more calm and allows a deeper stretch in the diaphragm and intercostal muscles. Deep breaths literally massage the adrenal glands by way of the breathing diaphragm. So helpful to calm our nervous system, our glandular system, changing the chemical makeup of the body. more calming chemicals being distributed. Try to let your body get twice as heavy, twice as soft. Easy in the neck, the glutes, the belly, the shoulders, the spine. Take a really good breath. The next inhale will slowly unturn and support your head well. Neutral spine. Satisfying breath. And top hand stabilizes you in front on the floor somewhere. And then top leg starts to lift straight up. Go back as far as it can comfortably and then circle it around. Wide up towards the ceiling, back and around. That's it, keeping knee bent. Activating glutes on that side. As well as creating more range of motion in the joint. Good, we'll do one more circle. Then hug that knee into the chest. Take a really good breath. Then release that and grab the foot and take figure 4 stretch there. And push the knee wide with the top hand. Remember, you can elevate that foot onto your bottom leg or blocks, but you'll need to stabilize with your bottom hand if you do that. You can always pull the legs in closer to the chest for a deeper stretch, pushing the knee wide with hand or forearm. Take a really good breath. And then slowly release, stacking legs. Big breath. Let's use our strap. Strap that top foot. Grabbing the strap with the top hand as close to the foot as you can comfortably with the arm on the inside of the knee. And then lay better on your side. So stack shoulders, stack hips, and firm your belly to maintain that alignment and slowly straighten that leg up to the sky. So think of top hip moves forward as your top leg moves back to allow the lengthening in inner thigh, inner leg, and the back of the leg. Try not to roll back, but stay laying on your side well. See your sparkles, Patricia. They are super fun. Gently lengthen low back, maybe firming belly a little better. You can always move your foot closer to your head to deepen your stretch. Top hip moves forward in the same direction as your face, as the top leg moves back. Just real subtle actions there. Real subtle intentions. Take a really good breath. Let's slowly release that. Stacking legs. Take a good breath. Okay, let's push ourselves up to tabletop on your hands and knees. We'll do a reverse cat and cow. So inhale, head and hips down. Exhale, head and hips up. Inhale, head and hips down. Exhale, head and up. So if your wrists are uncomfortable here, you can always put the heels of the hands on the front edge of a folded blanket. That can be really helpful. Or you can have your fist to the floor instead of your flat hands. You can also have cushion under your knees if needed. Inhale, head down, exhale, head up. Get the biggest range of motion in your spine that you can. So lots of movement in the ribs, the middle spine, the shoulders. Do one more breath. Okay. So come to the front edge of your mat, the short edge of your mat. Bring your knees together. Cross your left knee behind right. And then that left foot, slide it back, straight back. And so the front knee will bend a lot and try to keep it to center. Knee stays to center. So we're balancing on that right leg. Left leg goes as far back as it can. So knee starts to hop back further. So bend your right knee as much as you can. So back knee will settle. So this is kind of like a first version of a pigeon pose. Okay, so that right heel is in front of left hip. And we're just balancing on the elbows here. You can always put blocks or blankets under the hip if needed, but we're trying not to sit to one side, so stay balanced on that bottom leg. If the knee does not like that, you can always wedge a blanket or a pillow behind the knee for some extra support as well. Let your back knee settle. There you go. Let the heart lengthen forward, neutral neck. Take a good breath in. And a good breath out. We'll dig our back toe into the ground and push up to hands and knees again. Okay, elbows down, full body wags. Maybe shake legs out or circle wrists. Then tabletop, knees together. Then right knee behind left. Both knees on the ground to start. And then just slide that right leg back as far as you can, bending front knee. So front knee stays pretty centered. The front heel crosses the body to be in front of the right hip. Bit. And we let that back leg go as far, just inch the back knee as far back as it can go. And gently lengthen spine. We're balancing on the bottom leg, keeping pelvis fairly even from right to left. And keeping neck neutral. And steady breath. Maybe inching that right leg back further or reaching part forward a little bit more. And we'll take another breath. And we'll dig our back toe into the ground and then push up to hands and knees. Elbows settle, full body wags. Shake your legs out a little bit. Okay, so let's turn toward the long edge of your mat on your hands and knees. And we'll scooch over to the right side of your mat. Let's make sure knees are on your mat. It doesn't matter if your hands are or not. Step your left foot wide. So right knee and left foot on your mat so that you can utilize the sticky mat. And so keeping the spine centered, we're in tabletop except for that left leg. Shift the hips to the right. Just dive into that inner thigh opening possibly there. If this is too intense anywhere, you can always put a blanket under this bottom knee to give yourself a little more space in the hips. If your wrists don't like it, remember you can put heels to hands on the front edge of a folded blanket, or you can even settle onto blocks this way here. Shifting hips to the right, letting that left inner thigh open. Land your right hand flat to the ground. You can always put a block under that hand if you like, and we'll take a wide open twist. And left arm reaches up to the sky. Stacking shoulders, pulling shoulders down from the ears and from your belly. Push down with that left foot and turn the heart more toward the ceiling. And you can keep your neck neutral with the rest of your spine, or you can turn and look up toward the ceiling any amount. Towards your hand. Let's take another breath. And slowly let the arm drop to the ground. Big breath in. Big breath out. Then you can always use blocks under your hands to give yourself a lift, but let's lift the spine upward and make sure that right knee is straight down from your hip. Toes face forward on that left foot. And left hand on your thigh, right arm lifts up to the sky. This can be your pose here, or you can start to lean to the left any amount. For a nice side stretch and still affecting inner thigh on that leg. Left hand can slide down the leg any amount, but try not to land right on the joint. Try to keep your heart facing forward. Try not to rotate the spine or the ribs. Think of breathing into the right lung. Take another breath. Let that top arm release down and then lift your spine. And we'll bring both knees to the earth and try sitting into rock pose, sitting on your feet. Remember, you can always support yourself. If the ankles don't like this, so try sitting on your feet, tops of the feet to the earth. You can roll up a blanket, put it under your ankles if you like. The knees don't like this, you can wedge a blanket behind the knees to add some support. You can always have your blocks between your feet to make a little stool to sit on, or even add blankets on top of that to raise it up higher. So just settle there for a few more breaths. Spine nice and long and drop the shoulders. Try to empty your head of pressure, tension, clenching. Really good breath. Now lean forward to elbow or to forearms and knees, and circle wrists and ankles. And we'll come to tabletop over to the left side of your mat. And right foot steps wide. Make sure your knee and your foot are on your sticky mat so that there'll be less slidage. So shifting hips to the left to dive into that inner thigh stretch on the right leg. Slow breath. Remember, you can always put a blanket or two under that left knee if you need more space in your hips here. You can use your blocks under hands or forearms. We'll take that wide open twist. So right arm swings high and wide. And stack shoulders, turning heart to the right. Shoulders pull away from the ears to expose the neck. Push down with that right foot. Firm your belly. Maybe turn your heart a little more towards the ceiling. Your neck can either stay neutral with the rest of the spine or start to look up toward the ceiling any amount. Or your hand. Slow breath. One more breath. And slowly release that. Put hands back to the ground. Take a good breath. Then we're lifting spine up. Okay, so make sure this left knee is straight down from the hip. And right hand to the outer thigh, left arm lifts up. So that can be your pose there, just feeling that lift and breathe into the left lung. If you want to take a side bend, any at all, you can. Do a little or a lot. Try not to rotate spine or ribs. Drop the shoulders down. And swelling breaths to that left lung. One more breath. And top arm releases. Push down with your legs to lift your spine. Take a breath. And then try rock pose again. Both knees to the ground and together and sitting on your feet. Use any supports that are needed to make yourself comfortable, or if you need to just choose a different seated position, that's okay too. So spine up nice and tall, drop your shoulders. You can add your blankets on top of that as well. What's next for you? You point them? Big point. Yeah. Is that typical? It's just what your body's doing. So it happens to, it's not typical for everybody, but it happens. Yes. So let your spine be long. And tap into your breath again. Shoulders fall. Relax your jaw, your face. It's easy in the upper body. Take another big breath. And lean forward to elbows and knees and circle wrists and ankles if you like. Another way. And let's set up for deer pose with the option to go into pigeon pose. So you can always use your blankets, and let's use the blankets. If I'm facing short edge of my mat, the short edge of my blanket is gonna face short edge of my mat too. And left hip and thigh supported by the blanket. And legs are pinwheeled to the right. 90 degrees in the knees and in the groins, so lots of boxes here. So we want the full thigh supported by the blanket, the knee joint hangs off the front edge. The leg is not on the blanket either. Okay. And then we'll lean forward in the same direction as the left thigh. So belly on the thigh, breastbone toward the knee. You can always have blocks under hands, forearms, head here. Move the heart forward to lengthen the spine and fold as much as you like. Relax your jaw. So if that frees up nicely, you can remove blankets to deepen your pose. Or you can even start to inch that right leg back as far as it wants to go. Move your heart forward and fold comfortably. Slow breath. You always support your forehead with something. If you do get that right leg all the way back behind you and you still want more, you can shift your weight to the right. So we're balancing the weights better between both legs, not having all the weight into the left hip now. Reaching front of the right hip forward toward the ground, and spine moves forward and fold comfortably. Expansive inhales to low ribs. Take one more breath. Slowly start to sit up. Bend your back leg again. Sit all the way up. I'm going to turn around. Just turn around so that right hip is on the blanket now. Or switch sides. Legs are pinwheel to the left. 90-degree angles in both knees and in the groin. And we're leaning in the same direction as our right thigh. You can have hands on floor or blocks, elbows on floor or blocks. Move the heart forward, fold comfortably. You can always support the forehead if that becomes accessible. Using hands or blocks, or forearms. Try to soften both legs. Swelling breath. You can always remove blankets for a deeper stretch in that left hip, that right hip. You can start to inch that left leg back as far as it wants to go. Move the heart forward and fold comfortably. You get that left leg all the way back behind you, and you still want a little bit more. You can shift your weight to the left, balancing your weight more on both legs. Spine moves forward. Front of the left hip moves forward. Hold comfortably. Deepen and slow your breath. One more breath here. Start to sit up. Bend your back knee. And sitting up all the way, relax your upper body. Take some satisfying breaths. And let's extend the legs long in front. You can come off your blankets if you want to and rock your legs out all the way from your hips. And so check in, if you will. It might feel good to close your eyes while you do so and check in what your body wants to do for its resting position. So it might want to put the legs up onto the wall or a chair. You might want another back bend. Having blankets in the 8-fold, take the long edge fold in half, put that under your heart space wide. Laying on your back for a back bend, you can do 1 or 2 blankets like that. If you want to just lay flat on your back into corpse pose, you can always support your knees or your head with something. Check in what your body is asking for. Maybe you need a child's pose to rest in. So take your best resting position for you today. You can always cover your eyes with something if you like. Make sure you're warm enough. Once you're comfortable, let the breath flow. Into Mother Earth. Let her hold you. Allowing a deeper sense of trust that you're safe, that all is well, that you're okay. As your mother holds you, your ultimate mother. And as you breathe, feel her breathe with you. And feel the comfort in that. You and Mother Earth breathing together. You'll allow your breath to deepen. Wiggling toes and fingers. And stretch or move in any way that would feel good for you. Slowly make your way to your side. And you can hang out there for a handful of breaths, supporting your head with something, or you can go ahead and sit up if you're ready. If you've been in inversion with your legs up, then you want to stay laying on your side for a good handful of breaths. We'll all make our way up into sitting. Once you're comfortably sitting, you'll gather palms together at your heart. And I thank you for gathering today and for taking such good care of yourselves. Namaste.